Before even considering buying stock, it's important to take a minute to build a solid foundation and review your Economics 101 to make sure that you're comfortable with concepts like inflation, unemployment, interest rates, and other important forces in the economy. Understanding these economic indicators is crucial to making sound investment decisions, and in this video we're going to go over all of them in under 5 minutes and more. I'll also share with you how absolutely anybody can start doing macroeconomic analysis from the comfort of your home at absolutely no cost. That's right, 100% free. Each one of us has the ability to learn and participate in the life of our money. As long as you take the time to learn, you will inevitably, over time, feel more confident and more informed to make the investment decisions necessary to earn a rewarding investment return, therefore ensuring the financial security of yourself and your family. So please subscribe to this channel to make sure you don't miss an episode. We'll start off our Economics 101 discussion with interest rates. Interest rates are a measure of what it costs to borrow money in an economy. When interest rates are low, the theory goes, consumers are more likely to borrow money knowing that it will be cheaper to pay back in the long run. This is why, as you can see in this chart of United States interest rates, every shaded area indicating a recession is usually accompanied with a lowering of interest rates to try to kickstart the economy and increase the availability of money. All this money being created and spent is usually great news for the economy. It ultimately means more growth as more goods and services are demanded and sold. GDP, gross domestic product, measures the value of all goods and services produced in an economy. Following this indicator is an excellent way to keep your finger on the pulse of economic growth and productivity. As companies work to cater to this increased demand for goods and services, they require more human resources. So more and more people are hired, and this leads to lower unemployment rates. Again, pay attention on the chart how unemployment rates are usually at their lowest right before going into a recession, indicated by the shaded areas. Unemployment can even get so low that by the basic laws of supply and demand, workers can demand a higher wage due to a shortage of qualified candidates as indicated by the low unemployment rate. And if the economy is good, companies are probably going to be willing to pay them the higher wage. Now, all this sounds wonderful, but as in all things in life, too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. All of us notice that year over year, prices on stuff goes up. Some years prices go up by a lot, some years not as much. This constant price increase is referred to as inflation, and it can easily be measured and compared year over year. So with high demand created by low interest rates, we have lower unemployment leading to higher wages, meaning even more money is pumped into the economy, driving even more demand for goods and services. Inevitably, prices will start to rise, in part driven by the consumer demand, but also in part by the increased costs that companies have to incur by paying higher wages. In other words, inflation rises in the economy. Nobody enjoys prices rising too wildly if you're the one to have to pay them. For this reason, inflation can at first appear to be a horrible inconvenience that should be avoided, if not surgically removed from the capital markets forever. However, it's very important to understand that inflation goes hand in hand with economic growth. So if we want to enjoy all those things that economic growth brings, low unemployment, higher wages, maybe even access to low interest rate loans, then we have to learn to live with inflation. So when inflation gets out of hand, meaning prices are rising far too wildly, usually the regulators step in to fix the situation. They have one important tool at their disposal to fix the situation, and that tool is interest rates. The regulators start to increase interest rates in order to constrict the supply of money. Doing this, in theory, drives down the demand for goods and services in the economy, because now consumers are less likely to borrow and spend given the higher interest rates on their loans. This obviously slows down economic growth. Our gross domestic product suffers because now there's less demand for goods and services. But that's the price we choose to pay. We don't want our economy to get overheated and for inflation to get out of control. And this policy of increasing interest rates generally continues until the lack of economic growth becomes a bigger issue than inflation. And the regulators step in again, this time in order to stimulate economic growth. They lower interest rates, therefore increasing the supply of money and generating demand for goods and services. And so the cycle continues on and on and on. Despite all the wars, famines, and natural disasters that mankind had to endure in the 20th century, we have nonetheless produced an unprecedentedly long bull market for stocks in the developed world. For the most part, we managed to maintain a reasonable rate of growth in our economies without it getting overheated, without inflation getting out of control for the most part. And all this has brought us to a point in history where now we enjoy the highest standard of living ever imaginable. We have the most rights and freedoms. And our scientific and technological advancement has helped us achieve some truly remarkable things, bringing what was once considered science fiction to real life, like space travel or artificial intelligence, for example. All this leads many to believe that the old boom and bust cycles of the economy are a thing of the past. Wouldn't that be lovely? Unfortunately, looking back at history far enough, you'll probably come to a different conclusion. Throughout time, bull markets are followed by bear markets, and those in turn are followed by bull markets. Everything has a life cycle, not just us. Companies, industries, economies, governments, even countries. Nothing lasts forever and nothing stands still in our universe. So maybe the unprecedentedly long bull market of the 20th century will not go off into perpetuity, but will be followed by a bear market. If you're invested, a bull market is what keeps you smiling, whereas a bear market is really what keeps you up at night. A bull market is officially defined as a market that returns over 20% over a prolonged period of time. But realistically today, you will hear people referring to a daily trend as a bull market. So don't get too caught up in the details, keep things simple. Bull markets go up, bear markets go down. The Consumer Price Index measures the price increases on a basket of commonly used consumer goods. The basket includes things we use every day, such as electricity, transportation, clothing, and food. You will also hear this being referred to as the cost of living index. This is an important one to watch because it gives you an idea of what's going on with inflation. And if you know what's going on with inflation, you can try to guess how the regulators are going to react to it and what changes they will make with interest rates. There are many economic indicators that investors use to try to predict economic trends. These economic indicators are often divided into two groups, lagging and leading indicators. So far, many of the indicators that we've reviewed, like unemployment rate, wages, are referred to as lagging indicators, meaning they can be used more as a confirmation tool, but obviously the ones you're going to be more interested in are the leading indicators. Leading indicators can actually be used as a predictive tool as opposed to a confirmation tool. Probably one of the best leading indicators that we have is the stock market itself. Because stock prices in the market move on anticipation of future events, if we see prices in the market change trend, this can be used as evidence of a changing trend in the economy. And we will be talking about stocks and stock markets a lot more in the upcoming episodes, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But some other leading indicators that you could take a look at are indexes that reflect manufacturing activity, inventory levels, or house permits. All those give you an idea of what economic activity to expect in the future. There's obviously no one indicator that perfectly predicts the market, so I suggest familiarizing yourself with as many as possible and then figuring out which ones work for you. Use the ones that you're most comfortable with and you find yield the most useful results. In today's world, it's never been easier to get live access to all of these reports, and for the most part, it's 100% free. You really don't need to sign up to some service like Bloomberg to get all this data. In the United States, you can find a lot of the statistics from the Federal Reserve site. Also, check out Moody's for daily updated economic releases from around the world. I will leave a link for both in the description. And on that note, I'm going to wrap up this video and let you take the time to browse through and get comfortable with the many economic indicators that are available at your fingertips. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It's really important to me as a brand new channel, and it will make sure that you don't miss content like this. And join me for the next episode where we will conclude our Economics 101 discussion by talking about the Federal Reserve and central banks. Thank you for watching this video. Till next time.